about that. Greetings, everybody. It is May 20th, and welcome to the May public meeting of ANC 5D's Zoning and Development Committee. Greetings. Hope everyone is doing well, and I hope you're all vaccinated. I think the light is finally at the end of the tunnel. On the agenda tonight, first thing I wanted to mention, starting next month, we will hopefully have sign language interpreters present at all of the Zoning Development Committee meetings. Derek reached out to me about a week ago and asking if one would be present for this meeting. My fault, I did not reach out to Commissioner Moore soon enough to put a request in for this month's meeting, but I did put in a standing request that moving forward, every Zoning Development Committee would have a sign language interpreter. Zoom does have a pretty amazing automatic closed caption, but I think we should actually still have a sign language interpreter, especially considering that ANC 5D encompasses Gallaudet University. So Derek, you're not here right now, but I appreciate you and thank you for pushing me to get that set up. Quick minor update. We don't have too much on the agenda tonight. We do have a new BZA case I just noticed has popped up. They have their hearing coming up in July. I wanted to give a quick status update on the BZA case for 1300 West Virginia Ave Northeast. They had their BZA hearing last Wednesday. The ANC, I was out of town myself, I didn't attend, but the ANC voted to support that developer's application the night before. I think there was a stipulation in there that they still hoped that they would continue to negotiate with the family next door. I think they were trying to work out some agreement about, I think the developer was, well, whatever they were working on, I don't think the family and developer came to an agreement. And my understanding from speaking with Commissioner Hoffman is that at the BZA hearing, I think they deferred it again in the hopes to give the family and developer more time. You know, I think there are some lessons learned here. I think the family took too long to negotiate. This BZA applicant approached us, presented before the zoning committee back in November. And at that time, we did have some concerns about the design. It was it was going beyond 10 feet. There was 5 units. There wasn't a lot of family size units. And there was also just the general appearance and the massing, and it wasn't really fitting in with the character. It was very much out of character with a lot of the homes on the block. So we worked with them, and by the December zoning committee meeting, they had very quickly updated the design. And I think everyone, you know, I think a lot of the architects, I think a lot of people really liked the design. I think they had gone really, they had done an awful lot to improve the character, to the point where, you know, eventually the ANC supported it. I think the stumbling block is, I think the family hadn't been told of it until the very end of November. And I think what happened, it was a bit of an issue of trust that wasn't established at the very beginning. So then even when the developer drastically improved and fixed the design, like they did a lot of really good things. They even brought back the rooftop deck parapet wall back from the rear of the building to mitigate the light on the backyard. They moved HVAC condensers away from the property line for sound concerns. They even agreed to put in a non-solid fence to get as much light into the backyard. They really did honestly provide almost everything the family, you know, the ANC cared about and the zoning committee cared about. It just came down to, I think that the family entered into a period of negotiations and asked for some things that were just not something they could ever ask for, but they were also stretching out so long that eventually I think I can't speak for them, but I get the feeling the developer didn't think it was ever going to be fruitful. So in these situations, people need to be in situations like this where you have to speak and you're trying to work out some arrangement with someone who wants to do something next to your property, I think you need to be very fast about it, because time is money for for these things. And I think it got to the point where the developer's like, I just don't have time to do this anymore, and they might just submit a matter of right project, which would be unfortunate because they were proposing to build 3 units, 2 of which were family size 3-bedroom units, and one of them was a 2-bedroom unit. So I mean, I was hopeful that they would get approved. I don't know the status right now myself, unless they reach out to us again for help. But that's the status. Does anyone have any questions on that project? Okay. It does not currently, we'll see if I can get this screen share to work. We do have another, yeah, this did not work earlier. See if it works now. Let me try to do a screen share here. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, please, I think you can put them in the Q&A. There's also a chat, but my understanding is that questions in the chat are often not only seen by, like, you're sending me a personal question, but if you want it to be in the Q&A and recorded, you can put it in there. Well, let me see now if I can figure out how to do a screen share or an application share. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, are you seeing a screen, or is it all black?
It's still all black.
Yeah, this happened. I must need to reboot this laptop, so it's not going to happen. Okay, could somebody, one of my colleagues on the committee, bring up the Shannon? Would you be able to click on that link I sent you earlier and bring up that page?
Mm-hmm.
Apologize,
Are you
folks.
able to
Promote?
I think I might need you to turn on my sharing permissions, but I can.
Okay, let me figure out how to do that. I've made you a co-host. That should now allow you to screen share. That works, great. So to those of you viewing from home, what you're seeing here, this is a BZA case summary spreadsheet that we're trying to maintain. There's a link to an old version of this on the ANC's website, but that was attached to a personal Gmail. I need to get that link on the ANC's website pointed to this new spreadsheet, which is under the ANC 5D zoning at Gmail. Anyway, this is kind of if you scroll through it, there's all, and the idea is this is a public thing and just kind of shows some old cases, who were the architects, what were the BZA hearing deadlines, what was the ANC status, what was the eventual BZA decision, board members supporting, opposing, abstaining. Tonight before this hearing, I took a look and there was one new upcoming BZA in this neighborhood at 1219 Sims. And the way we're doing it, if you click on I put a hyperlink right there. If you click on that, we should be able to open that website. Perfect. Yeah, we're seeing this. So this is a Board of Zoning adjustment case, request for zoning relief at 1219 Sims Place Northeast. And Shannon, if you want to scroll down, and we go into the case view full log. Now, I believe if you do this, you'll have to, I'm not sure if you're sharing your screen or just sharing the application. But for those of you at home, you can also just go into the zoning committee, and if you go to BZA case search on your browsers, you can find this and search for, if you search for 5D, you'll see all the cases within 5D, and you'll find this in there. I think let's start with the statement of intended use. Can you click on that, Shannon? And you may need to actually share the PDF. You might need to share your whole screen so we can view the. If you can open that within the browser, that would be great. Perfect. Okay. And Chen, would you mind opening the link to the photographs? There was one of the, in the case records is Exhibit 5. And that way those of you at home can see. This is currently a it's a 4 flat up in Sims Place Northeast. So that's in the north east corner of Trinidad. And you can see a very typical 4 flat in Trinidad, 4 units. I think these are just photographs of some adjoining properties nearby. Now, what is interesting about this is they are looking to make an 8-unit apartment house. And that is atypical. Normally, when we see these types of projects, what we see is them doing a dig down, going up, and going back, and then turning the units from 4 1-bedroom into 4 really nice 2-bedrooms. Looks like the case summary reads that it's going to become an 8-unit apartment house. Shannon, would you be able to bring up the plans so we could thank you again, Shannon, for would you be able to zoom in a little bit? I just want to see curious what the layout is. Gotcha. So where's the entryway for the building?
It's in the center on the lower level. Then there's kind of a central staircase, and then you enter off that main corridor on either side.
But where's the main door? Oh, is the main door in the front of at the top of the page?
No, it's on the right side, on the bottom, right in the center.
Oh, gotcha. Now
There,
I see.
yep.
I understand. Okay.
And then you go up that corridor, and then on the right and left is the first unit. Then you go up or down the stairs for the other units.
Okay, understood. All right. So they are doing 2-bedroom units, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and they're just stacked. I mean, it's one layout that they've stacked all the way up.
Interesting. How long is this building?
58 feet, I think.
58. That is pretty.
Not counting the stairs in the back.
58 feet is long. So that would kind of make sense why we normally don't see people able, because I haven't seen other developers do this before. But this seems to be a reasonably long building.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like someone has a question in the chat. Yeah. Oh, there's Derek. Let me promote Derek to a panelist. We had. Hi, Derek. Welcome. I've promoted you to a panelist. Derek asked the question in the chat log, wonder how the quality of life with main living areas, dining and living with no natural light, especially in the cellar level. Are they managing to bring in any light whatsoever, or are the window wells only for the bedrooms?
Window wells at the bedrooms.
Could you scroll to, it looks like the last page is are two sections. Yeah.
Looks like there's the third story addition is set back. Can't quite see it, but it might be, is it 6 feet from the original front facade? 5 feet, can't quite, yeah, 6 feet there. So they're protecting the original slope of the roof line on the block. Yeah, with a building this big, it's a shame they didn't do slightly fewer units and instead did family size. And that would have also perhaps allowed them to do get some light into the living space areas. I guess I don't know, is there anything, if these, it's unclear to me if these are to be condos or to be rented apartments. You know, there is no shortage of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments and condos being built in the neighborhood. Do any of you know if the existing building were the 4 original units 1 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms? Let me have a look.
I don't think we can tell from this.
Yeah.
They don't really have any existing on there.
Yeah, it was just 4 apartment units before. Proposed use is 8 apartment buildings. So I think at minimum, and I think their BZA hearing is, have a look, their BZA hearing is was initially scheduled for June 30th, but I believe it's been postponed now to some time in, I think if you go to one of the other tabs, it might have shown that. It's sometime in July. Let me see if I can bring it up on my own. It's been postponed till July 14. And just a reminder for everybody, if any of the adjoining neighbors have concerns about this and wish to apply for party status, they need to apply 14 days prior to the original hearing date, which is 6/30. If there are any issues with this, now size-wise, light-wise, which are usually the concerns people raise, I can't imagine adjoining neighbors having too many concerns. I think the building's addition is only going back 8 feet, which seems fairly reasonable. And it's only going up, and we see a lot of these 3rd-story additions. I could imagine that people would be people might be very concerned about parking. You know, going from a 4-unit building to an 8-unit building. I don't know how parking is up in that street neighborhood right now, but that could be a concern the neighbors have. We have someone else in the chat log. There are some condo from Derek, the panelist. There are some condo development in the neighborhood that is done well with living areas having natural light. I would consider supporting the density change if the floor plan quality promotes people who would want to live in these condos for many years. So, yeah, no, I share Derek's concerns. These are going to be, there's going to be no natural light in the living areas. I think we need to, who are within the zoning development committee, who are the neighbors? Sorry, who are the committee members for 5D02?
This is me.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Marshall, would you mind reaching out to the authorized representative that's listed in the BZA case and invite them to the next zoning development committee meeting in June? And even that's getting a little late. What's the date for
Sure.
that? Oh, look. It's June 15. So that's cutting it pretty close, considering their hearing is, my guess is a lot of the other neighbors have no idea this is going on. And this has been, so I'm trying to think. I'll send an email to Salvador so he can maybe reach out to some of the adjoining. I don't know that street very well myself, but just to scope it out, to understand when the neighbors around there have concerns. Are the Trinidad ANC commissioners restarting they used to have these joint SMD meetings. Have those restarted?
Yeah, we just had one on Tuesday.
Oh, you did? Oh,
That was the second one, actually.
this past Tuesday? I thought this past was the actual ANC meeting. You mean the 18th? But just like 2
Correct.
days ago, there was a joint SMD meeting.
Correct.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Okay. Well, I missed that. I did not realize that they had restarted those.
I got
Okay.
it from Zach's email list. That was the only reason I saw it.
Oh, okay. I need to get on that list. I don't think I'm on that list. Yeah, I am worried, that with the light being so poor in these, people will live in here for a few years and then move. It doesn't very support. And I'd always just, it would be better. I mean, they could have gotten 4 family size units in these, if not more. Some arrangement where there was actually a light into the living areas rather than just the light is only being used for fire egress purposes in the bedrooms. I don't think we've ever had a project like this before.
So it looks like the variance is to get around that RF1 permits 2 units by right for new construction. And if it's an existing building like this one, this has 4 units, but that's a conforming use because it was built already.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's what the specific request, 301.5 that was listed, relates to the amount that they're allowed to expand on a structure that was already conforming.
When you
looking
say
into it
amount,
right
do
now here.
you mean number of units or size of the addition and feet?
I think it's both. Currently, they would, or by right, they would be allowed to expand as long as they have 900 square feet of lot area per unit. So that would include the
Yeah.
existing units. They would need 900 square feet of lot for the 4. And then to expand beyond, they would need another 900 for each additional unit.
And I just looked at the survey plat, which is Exhibit 2 in the case record. So the lot is 36.5 feet wide by 102. So that is 3,700 square feet. So if you divide that by 8, they're 465 square foot per, the general rule of thumb is they want 900 square foot per unit.
They're half.
And if you were to do that, they would have gotten 4.1 units. They're willing to, I think this is kind of a hard sell for an RF1. Like a building like this, we'll often see these in, I wouldn't be surprised if we had seen this plan proposed for an RA2 zoned lot, but RF1, 8 units seems pretty, in general, I know like the BZA really does not care about parking because there's a lot of issues when parking is cheap. It actually does not promote good public transportation. But I think the neighbors are going to be concerned when what's currently a 4-unit building. My guess is the people who, the current use, are probably parking in the back of the house because it is a relatively wide building. But 8 units suddenly, that'll become a concern.
What was the lot area again, Kevin?
It is 3,723 feet, if I got that correctly. I think it's 102. I think the survey shows 102 feet long by 36.5. That's, yeah, I mean, even the place next door to my home where they had 21-foot wide lot, 150 feet long, they still just did, well, it was 42 feet wide by 150 feet, and they did 4 units. Like,
Yeah, they're at, so dividing by 900, they're at 4.1 units. So the current building is complying with that 301.5 requirement. So they're looking to kind of double the size of what they're allowed to do. So if we had to translate that to another project type, it's like they're trying to get twice as much for what
Yeah.
zoning allows.
I can't fault them for trying to,
Yeah.
it's a free market. I can't fault them for trying to increase their profit margin. I just wish there was some family-sized units coming out of this, but also I think, as Derek pointed out, these are not going to be very enjoyable units to live in. And I don't care how much granite and stainless steel and nice things they put in here, there's going to be no natural light. Maybe for the very 3rd story units, they could put some skylights, but everyone else, especially in the cellar, these won't be very friendly. It's just, so do any of the, are there any other concerns or I mean, I can put in, we need to draft a quick summary of this and send it to Salvador, Commissioner Sosita Guzman, just to let him know about this and just kind of stating the facts.
Can I ask a
Well,
Sure.
question?
Yes.
So I'm not on the committee, so thanks for letting me chime in. Within the purview of the zoning committee and really for the ANC, like, what's the latitude to weigh in on things that aren't like specific to the variance they're seeking? I mean, the variance is not about, quality of light in the living area, and nothing about whether or not the property causes undue harm on the community, or all the other criteria for approving a variance has to do with whether or not the design of the living room or kitchen is nice. And so I'm just curious about the discretion of the ANC to weigh in on things like that. And like, I get that that's important stuff, and whether or not it's a good project, but like, I'm curious if the BZA cares if we're saying things like the living room doesn't get enough light.
I mean, you raise a good point, because I don't think we've ever actually made that argument as a reason to, and again, the zoning committee just kind of states the facts in a quick summary report to the ANC. But it's never been an issue about, I've just never seen an example where there's this much little light. I think what they will be concerned about is just setting a precedent, allowing on an RF1 zone lot to go from 4 units to 8 units. Like, it is a large increase in density. There's a lot of 4 flats in the neighborhood that I think we're all looking forward for them to get. And typically they're often these 1-bedroom units where often there's also like an illegal bedroom. And usually when they're improved, they're made into some really, really nice places, and they're light-filled places where people would like to call home. In this particular lot, the building is very deep, so with even just adding an 8 foot, addition. And I am surprised. I don't know if one of the architects, have you looked at why they didn't go back 10 feet? I'm just curious. Normally they like to grab the full 10 feet. I didn't think they had grabbed, would they have, if they had gone back 10 feet, would they have hit the 60% lot occupancy or something? Yeah, they still would have, if they'd added a 10-foot addition, they'd still be under 60% lot occupancy.
Well, they're building back 8 feet.
Mhm.
And then does that 8 feet include the light well, or is the light well in addition to that?
It does, the light
can't
wells
really
don't
tell
count.
from here.
The
No,
light well,
it's an addition.
yeah, because next to me, the house, the development next to me was built with a 10-foot addition, but then there was a large 10-foot deep areaway to bring in light. And in the front of the house, there are 3-foot deep light wells for fire egress purposes. So those light wells and areaways do not count against the length of the building. So I mean, I would almost rather, given how nice and large this lot is, if they had come to us and said, oh, we wanted something more than 10 feet, but we're going to deliver 4 light-filled family-size units, I think this would be a lot easier for the ANC commissioners to support. You know, not speaking for them at all, but yeah, Andrew, I'm not sure if I actually answered your question.
That's okay. Oh,
I'm not,
The
not
other
Andrew,
Andrew.
sorry. Is Andrew. Well, I meant Andrew, where is this? Where is the list of Andrew Grimberg? Yes, good. We have 2 Andrews on the call today. Sorry about that.
Yeah, sort of. It's fine though.
Okay. Are there any other concerns that we that are? Is that the only zoning relief they're looking for?
That's what it says. I mean, that's the only thing and I mean, they seem to have everything else I can think of top of my head, but it is a pretty large ask, really.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone act. It's a lot. So, you know, all we can do is just let the ANC commissioner know. This case is coming up very, very fast. And I don't know if they have, maybe they've already reached out to us. I think actually Commissioner Guzman may have actually reached out to me a few weeks ago about this, and I'm not sure if I just have taken a look at it yet. Let me take a look. Yes, he did, in fact. Yeah. He reached out to me actually 3 weeks ago, and it's just fallen off my plate. I need to get a better process in here so we can jump on these things. So yeah, I would, you know, we need to talk to Commissioner Guzman and just let him know.
So Kevin, one thing, and I think someone may have mentioned this, but there are quite a few buildings like this in Trinidad. You know, it's a 4-unit rental or condo, 2 levels. Whatever decision or, you know, whatever happens with this, it could be pushing development in a certain direction. So if we think having a lot of 4 units go to 8 units is a good precedent to start, then, you know, I guess it's sort of a way to think about what's the ramifications of this moving forward, and what's the effect going to be on the neighborhood.
That is a very good point. This will be copied. If this, you know, this will absolutely be copied. And you know, we're already losing so many family-sized units, you know, 3-bedroom houses being converted from, you know, to they'll go up a floor, down a floor, but very frequently the 3-bedroom unit becomes 2 2-bedroom units, you know? So, you know, there's no shortage of 1 and 2-bedroom condos being delivered around the perimeter in the mixed-use developments. You know, I'm quite sure we're seeing a net decrease in family size units. It would be great to offset that if this particular BZA applicant instead had proposed conversion to 4 3-bedroom family size units. I personally would think that would be fantastic, and I would love to see that replicated.
Yeah, and Andrew Grinberg brought this up, but with a variance, there's a hardship that's related to the request. You know, there's some unique condition with the property, and an owner requests a variance to even the playing field for their lot compared to other neighborhood lots. This variance seems to be just it's a request to maximize what they're allowed to build, and I worry that if this was replicated throughout, you know, a lot of the other streets in Trinidad, we'd be dealing with, you know,
Yeah,
substantial changes to the neighborhood, different than what an RF1 zone is intended to help guide.
Yeah, I was looking in the case file. Shouldn't they say why they need the variance? I can't. What is that?
This is the thinnest burden of proof statement I've ever. I mean, it's normally the applicant's statement could be a 16-page long document, and I'm looking. All I can find is this Exhibit 8, and it's a barely, you know, 2.5 pages, and that includes the signature line.
Because the burden is on the applicant to prove they need a variance, and it can't just be because I want to build, you know, more units.
Yeah, I don't
At least
see.
I don't think so.
I mean, it's quite common when they've actually got quite a few letters of support in here already. But of course, they're all form letters of support where literally somebody just filled in their name. I view those as having all the weight of a feather here. There's literally just form letters where they probably knocked on doors. Of course, you know, we can go look at them later. Yeah, I would personally hate to see this building built and it replicated, because, you know, it's not the intended purpose of the RF1 zoning.
Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of renovating this building type, and I've seen it done pretty well in a few streets around here. But I think doubling the size is not with the intent. And Derek brought up a good point that this is almost like a PUD, or we would want it to be thought of more like a PUD, where there's, you know, we would ask what benefits are really coming back to the community with this kind of project.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're on the same page here. Just to clarify, we don't have concerns with the physical size. It is the fact that it is going from 4 units to 8 units, and there's not family size units. You know, and these units don't seem like they'd be kind of units where people would live there very long, because there's literally no interior light. Like, it's not going to be. I don't think I don't think light is called out anywhere, but it just seems like it's a fundamental human need in good design to have light. And there's no light in any of these units. So yeah, I will, I'm going to reach out to Commissioner Cecilia Guzman this evening, just to let him know that we looked into this, and I will share some of the concerns we have here. And I think we need to reach out. In fairness, you know, time is money with any BZA application. We need to reach out to this BZA applicant as soon as possible to let them know of the concerns, so that they have, in fairness, they have time to consider alternatives. Just looking at the plans, these are all, these aren't detailed architectural drawings. These are just quick concept drawings. There's nothing, this is not anything that would be, this is not a detailed build drawing set that's ready to be submitted to DCRA that they have spent significant sums of money on. This is, you know, Yeah. Well, I'm glad we dug into this evening. These are small units.
Kevin,
Yes.
I would like to ask a question, because I was listening to you talk about the small units and no lighting. Shouldn't that be, shouldn't the size of the units or the size of the bedrooms and lighting should be like a requirement?
There is no, I think there is minimum
There's-
room size. That's probably
There's building code requirements, yeah. And the lighting requirements are natural light or artificial light, except for in bedrooms, which they do have. And then there are minimum room sizes where I think it's, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 70 feet with a minimum dimension of 7 feet in one direction? I think off the top of my head.
7, I think 7, but if it's a bedroom, I think it's actually more. 7 would be like, actually, I think you're right. I think it is 7. Other room types can be smaller, like a bathroom could be smaller. And a kitchen technically could be smaller because you're not doing the same thing in that type of room, but there are minimum requirements for the bedrooms. So you could technically comply with the building code and do what they're proposing to do. So it's the natural light. It's a little bit of a, if they're providing the natural light in those two spaces, the bedrooms, then they're using the light well to do that in the cellar, they are complying with the requirements, even if we don't like it.
Yeah. The more I look at this design, the more I hate it. Because I'm looking at this and they have a kitchen, but they don't have a living room or a dining room.
Right.
I mean, like, there's literally no space to live. It's a kitchen and 2 bedrooms. This is just horrendous design. This is just, I don't understand this. This developer has got a great lot, a great building, and could absolutely, I'm quite sure the community, the ANC, would be willing to support some request for zoning relief to deliver family-sized units. But this, it's a kitchen and 2 bedrooms.
Mhm.
Am I missing anything? Like
I mean, it's laid out almost more like 2 efficiency studio apartments with a shared kitchen.
It
Yeah.
suggests to me that this is not designed for families. This is designed for.
It's not, and I'm sorry, they're doing a lot of small units like that just so they can get quantity over quality. And just like my place, I don't have a dining room and I have a very small kitchen, and I have one of my rooms in my place here in Ivy City is only fit for a small child. So then once that child grows up, the room is almost like the size of a closet. So I'm not understanding how these developers are getting away with building units that are so small, they're like efficiencies. And then they calling them lofts.
Yeah.
Lofts with an F.
So I'm just curious. Just for the record, just for the public record, is there anyone here in support of this project? Or is there anything beneficial, or what is something good we can say about this project?
So I personally see the value of adding 4 additional units. We're, in a housing crisis here in DC, and actually the shortage does extend to all sizes. While family size units should definitely be the preferred thing. I'm of the opinion that getting the 4 additional units, if it's that or nothing, still a good thing. And so I don't think this is a bad project. I think it could be better. I don't see how they have made the case to get a variance from BZA, which is really the question before the ANC. But like, I'm of the opinion that the district needs to be encouraging this type of development in addition to better development that, you know, based on the things identified so far. So I don't think this is a bad project personally, but I do see the critiques for sure.
And we should, Andrew Grimberg, thank you so much. You know, I'm all for increased, you know, density as well. But there's a much higher bar for variance versus special exceptions. So I am just surprised that this is like, you know, when I look at what they have submitted in the case record, they really have not shown the hardship. Like it is a very, very thin justification. It just seems like they're just saying, hey, this is what we'd like to get. They haven't really justified why are they requesting a variance, especially for something which this type of, you know, if they had figured out some way, if they were asking for, I don't know, 6 units, where like some of them were family size and some were 2 bedrooms or something, if they could, but like just to go for all non-family size, I am, you know, I know this neighborhood is seeing a reduction in family size because we do see a lot of, there's a lot of matter of right developments being done in Trinidad and Ivy City and Carver Langston, where they're taking existing family sites and they're being converted into multiple 2-bedroom, you know, or one and 2 bedroom units. So we're absolutely seeing a net decrease of family size, and it's very, very rare the bigger projects that are being done in the mixed use developments where they ever yield 3-bedroom units to offset that loss. You know, I understand we need a diversity of unit sizes, 1 and 2 bedrooms, but I think these large MU developments that are going in Union Market, wherever, we get a lot of 1 and 2 bedroom units out of those. You know, it would be great if the developers started to convert these 4 flats into family size, if the size permits. And not all 4 flats have these amazing, you know, this building already was a 40-foot deep building or something close to that. It was 40 something feet. But yeah, no, I mean, I think most of us are pro development here. I just, I don't think they've met the burden of proof. But then again, at the end of the day, it is the Board of Zoning Adjustment and the Zoning Commission that decide that. Did we have anything else we wanted to discuss this evening? And that is a question for even for community members who are in attendance. Well, yeah, Shannon, if you would like to stop sharing, I think we can. I think we have discussed this a fair amount. I think we're gonna. These meetings normally last for an hour and a half, but if we don't have other upcoming BZA cases, I don't want to keep people here unnecessarily. I think this was a really good discussion. I'm going to reach out to Commissioner Cecilia Guzman this evening just to let him know some of the concerns, and we'll take it from here. Marshall, were you going to email the? I think it's Alex Salah is the. He might be listed as the authorized.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
Yeah, and at minimum, invite him to present at the next zoning committee meeting in as well as the next ANC meeting as well. In fact, I think actually this needs to be discussed. I wish I'd I should have invited them to this particular, that is my mistake. I wish we had invited them to come and present this evening that way, but at minimum, I think we need to invite him to the next ANC meeting, just because I do want to be respectful of their time. If they need to make changes, I want to give them as much time as possible to make any changes that they need before their July hearing date. I think their hearing date is July 14th.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending. As always, really appreciate it. And one last thing, this the zoning committee, I can bring it up real quick, how many members we have. We only have, we should have a total of 14 members, and right now we've got 8. So we are still missing members from, let me see if I can bring it up. I actually put it in, Shannon, that BZA case summary, one of the tabs there in that spreadsheet lists, well, it's supposed to list the members. Interesting. I might have saved it in the wrong one here. Oh, I've got the wrong one here. I'll look at it later, but we are definitely missing some members. So if anyone wants to, be a citizen member, please reach out to your ANC commissioners. But even if you're not, we appreciate when neighbors show up. Andrew Grimberg, I know you attend a lot of the community meetings, and always love to hear from you and to get your point of view on these things. So more people who attend these, the more informed we can be. And if you know of any concerns that any issues coming up in the neighborhood we need to be aware of, just please give us a shout. If there are any questions about any projects, you can always email anc5dzoning@gmail.com. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this night's meeting. Thank you so much, everybody, for your attendance. Cheers.
I know.
Thank you.
Thanks.